Well, the long anticipated wait for the next Dawnless Days update is here, and we have a new faction, new maps, new units. We have so much to cover in today's video, guys. I'm very excited. But yes, it's here, a new faction. We have Anduin Vale. It's kind of been hinted at quite a lot if you followed their sort of progression on the Dawnless Days Discord. You've seen there's been some previews for it, and certainly some of the artwork that's been shown off some of these units. But it's now here in the flesh, and the Dawnless Days update that we've been waiting for as well is here as well. You can, I believe at this point, you can get it on Nexus Mods. I'll leave a link for it down below in the description. I believe it is now out. I was given early access to check out this update. I wasn't allowed to show it until today, but I was given early access by the devs, so thank you very much. I am going away very shortly, which is, I was like, please let me have some early access. Let me do a video before I go away to sunny Denmark, and I go and I miss out on all of this, and everyone else gets a quick jump on it. So yes, I've been very kindly allowed to have a look at these units, and obviously we're looking at some of the maps as well. We've got like I said, so much to cover. We're not going to blab on. We're going to just get straight on with the video. If you're enjoying this sort of content and want to see more stuff on the new update, leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that shenanigans. Feel free to join the Discord. We do loads of Dawnless Days content over there as well, like battles and scenarios. But yeah, let's get straight on into the shenanigans. So yes, Anduin Vale we're looking at here first today. We're going to look at some of the other units. I don't know if we'll necessarily go onto the battle map to look at them. We might do for some of them. But we'll certainly look at them in like the army builders and things like that. That's for sure. Just to show you, because there is some of them that, yeah, I mean, some factions have just got like a little bit of a change. Some factions got an entire change, you would say. But Anduin Vale, entirely new faction, so they get certainly the honor of being looked at. We'll do probably a unit overview on these guys in a month or so time. Once I played with them quite a little bit, and can kind of give a bit more of a breakdown on sort of how they operate on the battlefield, because I have no idea how these guys are going to act or operate, I should say. But yeah, we've got the Burning Warriors here, which is a heavy shock infantry unit, apparently. I mean, yep, yes, it looks like it. I mean, it looks like it's not really a shock. It looks more like an axe unit, I'd say. To be honest, with the big old axe there and a shield. But maybe let's actually look at the stats quickly. Do these guys have missile block? Not a clue. It says very poor missile block chance, but they have a big shield, so that seems right. I don't know if that's going to get changed to like becoming an axe infantry unit. Might do. But yeah, they look very cool. I'm a big fan of these guys. Anduin Vale, if you don't know where the Anduin Vale is, it's sort of like to the west of Dale. It's sort of like in the northern part of the map. We kind of interacted with them a little bit in the Harad campaign. We sent a spy up there and had a look at them. But they're in that sort of area. They're sort of east of the Misty Mountains, and then they're west, sort of like of the Great Green Wood. They're sort of like in that sort of space in between. So yeah, in a pretty sticky position, that's for sure, on the campaign map. But it's, yeah, and yeah, there's stuff to say on the campaign, that's for sure, as well, actually, which I think I'm allowed to mention, which I will mention at the end of the video. So do stick around to see when, sort of like, there's a bit of campaign news that's coming as well. We've got past sentries here. These are a medium shock infantry. They look very cool. They look like Viking Huskars. Look awesome. I've just also like seen like the details of their like on their helmets. Look at this guy's like nose here, very cool. Then the guy next to him, look what he's got, like a little beak going on here. What's that? It's like a duck's bill and like face there. That's very odd. But yeah, they're the pass sentries, looking very cool. We then got they seem to have a lot of axe infantry in their faction. These guys, the Greenwood Foresters, again, like I said, that's kind of like the sort of area that Anduin Vale operates in. I don't know what's going on with this helmet. I don't think this guy got the right size for a helmet, in my opinion. But it looks very silly. But yeah, these are a low tier sort of axe infantry. They're tier 2. So those are the Foresters, and they have Jabbies as well, which is actually very important here. We then have Vale Axemen. I feel like if you were to bring one or the other, these are very light. They're medium, I guess. So yeah, I guess the Foresters, you get the Javies, but the Vale Axemen, a little bit more armor going on there. Let's have a quick look at these guys. They're quite similar. The shields are kind of giving me sort of like Celtic sort of vibe. Certainly sort of like, yeah, sort of like Picts or something like that. Again, they've got the silly helmets going on. Look very similar in sort of style of armor, that's for sure. to the foresters, maybe a little, like I said, a little bit heavier, sort of like padded armor there going on. And then what else do we have along this line here? I think we have the woodland axemen, which are the cheapest of the axe infantry, and they literally are just like in their clothes that they roll out of bed in, given a shield and an axe, and told, "Go into battle, boys. You're gonna die here." And then on the very end, we over here we have a Aethid footman. So yeah, they do sort of have links to Rohan, because I think Aethid's also a term that's used sort of like by the Rohirrim. Because yeah, they also come from this sort of part of the world originally before they start migrating. But these guys look really cool, and they do look quite similar to the Rohan sort of units. I feel like with the style of shield they got going on and armor, and they've got that. They're in that color of the red, the same as the Helmingast. But they look very cool. And you can bring these guys. I think these guys are capped though, unlike the Axe infantry. You can't spam these Aethid troops out. You'd be relying mostly on axe infantry and spears. These are the only sword unit, and yeah, like I said, I think they're capped at 2, or at least what it says on the army builder. So yeah, they look very cool, those footmen. Back here we have the Valesman Levy. So yeah, they also look like I said, just like sort of Pictish, I feel like, with the spears going on, and then the shields, but look very nice, very cheap spear. You know, I imagine I'll use that probably in sort of like, you know, sporting cav fights, or maybe this one here, which is quite similar, Vale Spearmen. So yeah, they're also, again, just a little bit more armored going on. I feel like a tier 2 spear is always quite handy, sort of, yeah, just like support cavalry fights and things like that. So again, looking quite cool. I don't know what else we have for spears here. It looks like we've got a slightly more expensive one here. Anduin Sentinels, a tier 3. I don't think we've seen a tier 4 unit at all so far for Anduin Vale. Actually, maybe the general, I think, might have been tier 4, but that might have been it, generally, I think, is the only unit. But these guys look really cool. Again, got some very odd-looking helmets going on here. This guy's got a massive sort of, like, crosspiece across his nose there. Like, that looks quite silly, and I feel like that might be a little too eccentric, a little bit in his way, but it's kind of showing he's got a mustache here, literally, and then below he has his actual mustache, which is very silly. I like this guy's helmet, though, looking very cool, but that's very medieval in sort of style, I feel. But these guys, I mean, they do look great. The details on these units, I mean, the devs I just can't say enough. Like, the devs do such a great job in the creation of these factions and these units. Like, people go, "Oh, why is it, when's the campaign coming? When's the next update?" Here, I get it, like, pretty much every single video I get a comment or in a stream. And it's like, just be patient. These guys, they're cooking. They know what they're doing. Let them take the time. Like, they will eventually, it's going to take time, but they will pump out good quality content at the end of the day. And it's worth the wait. It really is. Anyway, we've got a pike unit here. And these guys also, they kind of got like I think it's Sutton Hoo, also like the Saxon. I can't remember what the Saxon burial or like helmet is. I forgot what it is called now. Someone will tell me again in the comments. I've definitely referenced it so many times, and so many times I forget the name of it. But anyway, this helmet here, it looks really cool. It looks like the very iconic Saxon helmet that's found in the UK. If you know, you know. But yeah, this is the Carrick Wardens, another tier 3 heavy pike unit. Interesting looking pikes as well they've got going on there. Yeah, very cool. In the yellow as well of the Anduin Vale. I feel like that's going to be obviously their iconic sort of colours. Looks like yellow and red and green, I guess, with the forest units. But yeah, I feel like the more elite troops certainly look like they're going to be in the yellow, same as a faction icon, that's for sure. But yeah, they look very cool. We then have range units behind here. We have the only Javi unit that they have, Greenwood Rangers here. It's a tier 3 Javi unit as well. So I'd imagine might have some decent, might be okay in melee, or just really good, like throwing Javis. I don't know, but you'd expect like a faction that sort of relies on forests and sort of like a little bit of, I'd say, ambush warfare. These guys would be pretty good, sort of like, you know, with Javis and missiles. Over here we have Anduin Longbowmen. So this is like a tier 3 bow unit. Looks again quite similar, I'd say, to the I don't know, I forgot what they're called now. The guys, Anduin Sentinels. They look quite similar in armor to them, and yeah, they are just basically a bow unit. They look really good. Solid unit, to be honest. I imagine this will be what most people bring as those longbowmen when they try out Anduin Vale. I imagine loads of people could be trying out. I don't know how often it will stick. I don't think it's going to be a faction for everyone, that's for sure. Vale Yeoman here. So there's a little bit of a cheaper unit. I think you see this quite a lot on defense in sieges. I'd imagine, again, kind of giving the same sort of pattern of tier 2 units, padded sort of like armor going on here, and then just like it looks like a light sort of like tunic underneath. Again, in the blues and greens, actually, not, yeah, I'd say like yellow's a like sort of common theme color. We've seen very few actually units in yellow, just about 2 or 3. And then over here we have the Valesman Archer Levy here. So this is the cheapest sort of bow that you can bring. You might see this unit as well. I imagine it's a bit like, not quite as bad as Bow Rabble, but, you know, sort of like, it's there with Gondor Bow Militia. You might bring this if you just need the extra numbers, or just don't have the extra cash for, like, maybe some cheaper, some better archers. And then behind that, we have cavalry. There actually is a lot of cav to look at. There's 5 units here of cavalry. The only general, by the way, that you can bring... no, you can bring Burning Warriors. That is a tier 4. That is the only tier 4 I think we've seen. You can also bring the Aethid Nobles, which we'll get to in a minute, which is also a tier 4 unit. You can bring them as a general, but they are the only tier 4 units that they have access to, do Anduin Vale. I say access to. It's like they're locked out of some of their other units. But yeah, here's the first cav unit. It's a spear cav. It's Aethid Cavalry. Again, similar sort of style of to like the footman that we've already looked at. Got that padded sword jerkin again going on. Spear, shield. It looks like it's going to be pretty solid. It kind of does remind me a little bit of the Rohirrim, but the Rohirrim in red. I don't know what I feel about that helmet. I guess it's pretty cool. It kind of is giving very Variag and Easterling vibe, but I feel like in a battle, certainly if I was fighting these guys, I'd be like, I'm kind of confused who you are, sir. And I'm going to start killing you. And these are the Aethid Nobles in these very cool helms here. They do look very nice. And they've got the furs going on, kind of again showing sort of like they're from, I don't know, rough parts of the world. Yeah, they look really cool. Again, similar sort of shield. To be honest, they're solid. They look like a solid unit, to be honest. Not really much more to say on that. And then we have over here a Aethid Lancer. Are they shock or are they spear? They are spear Aethid Nobles. Oh, that's kind of a shame. They're not even a shock cav. This is the only shock cav available. The Aethid Lancer. With obviously a very long lance, as you can see there. I feel like we don't really have many Lancers in Dawnless Days, actually, now I think about it. Like, units that you would, like, say are, like, quote-unquote Lancers. And I guess any shock cav is arguably a Lancer. But these guys have incredibly long, spears. And they, again, have the same sort of armor as the footman. And then that's sort of like scale armor they've got going on there. Small shield and a very long lance. They look like they could be solid. Like I said, we're just kind of looking at these units. We'll go over them and analyze them in a unit overview in another video, another day. We've got loads to look at. Aethid Horse Archers here. Again, scale armor going on for these guys. I'll just make sure you get a good look at them. Looking very nice there. Got their bows. I feel like, again, going to be a solid fact. Going to be a bit like, I guess, like Rohan a little way. They're going to have a lot of cav options and have missile options for if you want to be an harassing. That's the officer. Let's not look at him. Let's look at this guy. This is a Javi cav. Don't often see Javi cav brought, but maybe that'll be different with Anduin Vale. Who knows? Aethid Outriders, the tier 1 skirmish cav. So yeah, they, again, pretty low armor, small shield, lots of Javis. You don't often see Javi cav brought, so how often we'll see this unit outside of this video and the unit overview, I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, they are all the Anduin Vale units. We're now going to quickly go over some of the other stuff as well. Actually, we'll just show you, this is one of the new maps. This is Nindalf, I think it is, Nindalf. It's got a big old hill, but it's pretty flat, to be honest. It's going to be actually great. It's going to be another Lozanark, I feel like. A really good map just for doing multiplayer 3v3s on. I'd say it's not maybe large enough for a 4v4. It's quite a small map, I feel like. Certainly, I feel like 4 armies would be stood on top of each other. But yeah, that is Nindalf. It's one of the new maps. I don't know where it's supposed to be in the world. Maybe in sort of like the Anduin Vale. I don't know. But yeah, very simple map, to be honest. But does the job. Just exactly what you need for multiplayer games. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a minute with some more update stuff. So here we are back on the army builder, and you can see we have every single unit there that we picked, so I didn't miss out on anything at all. They haven't got any unique generals yet. I really hope they kind of get one. That would be really cool to see. Maybe like I don't know if they'd be who's the ruler of Anduin Vale at that time of the War of the Ring, but it'd be cool to add one. The only thing we didn't add is the Onager, but everyone's seen the oranges before. But anyway, we're going to go through some of the other stuff. I might go onto the army builder for some of them if we've got a bit more to show off. I certainly think, quite excitingly, Eastlings, which I've been going on about, I think I'm quite a bit. So we might go to the actual battlefield for them. But Dale has a little bit of an update. They've lost Lake Town Guards as a general, which I realized when sort of picking an opponent just then. But we have Avari Wanderers capped at 1. I don't know if all these caps are going to be the same with actually what I have, because some of them will be interesting to look at. But yeah, Avari Wanderers, they're an Elven unit. They've been added. I'm not good, like I said, not going to go into detail and look into all these units because there's so many. This video will turn into an hour just looking at units. But yeah, they are in there as well. That's the only update I think there is to Dale. I kind of scrolled through and was like, yeah, nothing really has changed there. That's pretty much all the same. They've got a shock now, which now makes Dale probably even stronger, to be honest. I don't know if anything's changed and sort of. I know some of these units kind of get changed from tier 2 to tier 3 sometimes, and that kind of gets some skipped over, and you find out that a month down the line. I don't think anything has changed. Shipmen, I presume, still have their Javies. They seem to constantly be either winning or losing their Javies. But yeah, I don't think anything else has changed there. But yeah, Shock Infantry is going to make Dale really, really strong, really, really well-rounded now. Probably the best well-rounded faction. I bet we'll see Dale a lot more on the battlefield. I don't think really anything of theirs really hits really hard. These are tier 3, very light Shock Infantry. So they are still going to be quite vulnerable. And they're very expensive as well, actually. They are, I think, by far and away the most expensive unit actually they have in their roster, bar cavalry units. So yeah, it is actually. So yeah, and it's capped at 1, like I said. So it's not going to make it's not the be all and end all. Dolgaldor also have had stuff added. They've had Barrow-Whites added. It's also a tier 1 unit. I presume this is unbreakable shock infantry. Yeah, morale 250. It's very light shock infantry. It actually is tier 3. So that'll be exciting to see on the battlefield. So that's new, and it's got a very cool unit icon. Big fan of that. So you see those with wraiths. They are, like I said, capped at 1, but along with the wraiths, that's 3 undead units you have there. You could really hold up an army with these guys. And I mean, they're both 100 in size, so they're not massive, but yeah, like I said, they're fighting to the last man. They're going to be solid. Servants of the Eye have changed. I will actually, we'll swing back around. We'll have a look at them potentially as well on the battlefield. But they've got an entire new look and a new unit icon, as you can see there. So that's a little bit new. So we might show off either Dolgaldor or Mordor. I think have also had a bit of a little bit of a change as well. So we might show it when we look at them. Eastlings, we are probably going to go onto the battlefield maybe for these guys, but they have got a couple of new units here. So we've got Balkoth Raiders, we've got Balkoth Nobles as well, so we've got another swords unit. Kahar, like I said, probably butchering his name. I always feel like I'm butchering his name. Kahar, and we have Kavar now. So we have Lokium Storm Riders, yeah, general for both of these guys. I don't know whether they should maybe change these up, make these a bit like give them a unique general. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, you can now bring 2 different unique generals. I don't know much about either of them, but Kahar now he's got a cooler unit icon. Now it looks like they just reused Kavar's. But yeah, we may go on the battle map for them. Nothing else has massively changed their roster at all, but they've got a cool few exciting things. I actually think no, we won't do Eastlings, and we'll go and do Dunland, because Dunland has another massive change. So we'll swing back around. Erebor, don't think they've had anything changed, but like I said, we'll just quickly have a look. No, don't think they've changed anything at all. It wasn't a Dwarven update. Gondor, though, have had a few changes as well. And certainly in unit icons here, Gondor Sword Militia, but these changed. Same with the Spear Militia. I think they've all changed as well. Other interesting thing is, oh, and they've got a new cav as well. They've got Gondor Cavalry. I don't think this has been in another update. This is a melee cav, so they have now got this, and they've also got Anorian Patrollers, so a very light spear cav here, tier 1. So those have been added, so they'll be adding to the roster and what's available to Gondor. These guys are not capped. Gondor Cavalry, you can bring as many of these as you like, but in a big turn of events, some things have been capped. Knights of the Silver Swan are now 1. You cannot spam these guys out. You can't, well, not spam them. You can't bring 3 of them, and then also bring Imrahil as well. So you probably can nowadays you'll bring Imrahil, I imagine, and you'll bring these guys, and then maybe the 2 Gondor Cav, or maybe Gondor Spear Cav, depending on what you want, I guess. Princess Sergeants also capped. They're capped at 2, so you can't bring like some relatively cheap cavalry there, yeah, for a good price anyway. And then Goblins, I don't think they've had anything change. The height for the Goblin bodyguards has changed. I think they've been shortened. I saw that in the change log, but I don't think else has changed much for them at all. Well, they're pretty much the same. I don't think they had any other generals. For some reason, I felt like they had another one. Harad, they've got some new stuff. They got Far Harad mutants here, so that's a new unit, new shock unit there. So that's very, very exciting. We've got Umbar Guards, they've always been there. We've got Far Harad Bow mutants. So we've got another bow unit here. That'll be cool to see. Capped at 2. Same with the mutants, like the shock infantry, they're capped at 2. And the Anduin Vale now capped at 1. Like I said, I don't know if these caps are going to actually be staying like this. I don't know if these are accurate at all. They might be. I feel like they're nerfing it a little bit. If most factions seem like they're getting a lot of their high tiers capped. So I guess maybe just to stop people from spamming out high tier units in battles, trying to, you know, make you have smaller tier, like lower tier units as well, see them on the battlefield. But like I said, I don't know if these caps in my version are accurate for the release version. And then there is a unit down here I can't show, but it's there. You saw it? That's all I can say. All I can say. And then over here we've got Isengard, not changed. I think Dunland Tribesmen have got a new icon. That looks new. We never see Dunland Tribesmen, but again, not an update really. And Dunland Horse Raiders, they are got a new icon as well. That's it for them. Linden, I don't think they've had anything change. I think some of their stats for their Noldorian archers were changed. They also can only have 2 now of them. Haven Watchers 3. So you can't really spam out bows, really. Like, it's not easy to, anyway. As Lindens, you got to go 1, 2, 1, 2, and then that's it. If you're doing 4 bows, anyways, rules. Like I said, again, that's in my version. Shipwright Nobles as well, capped at 1. Noldorian Swords capped at 2. Noldorian Spears capped at 2. I don't know. I don't think these caps are going to be accurate, because otherwise you're not going to be able to bring an army as Linden to an extent. Like this. Well, I guess like that. Say, like, you could do that if you're maxing everything out in cavalry, I guess. Yeah, that would be it. That would be your army. Maybe if you were like, I don't know, let's do like actual sort of like funds. Say 17,500. Yeah, I still have 2 grand left over, and then, like, I don't know really what else I want to spend my money on as Linden. So I can't believe those caps are real, to be honest. If they are, then that's kind of concerning a little way. I would say elves certainly could look very, very different, very small in some army sizes. I mean, they already were. Lothlorien, nothing's changed here either. I don't think they were getting touched on. Mordor has changed a little bit as well. So yeah, we now have Gothmog, who I'm not quite sure who he is in regards to the movies. I think he's one of the other lieutenants, like the Siege of Minas Tirith, but I'm not sure. Gothmog's a Balrog in lore, but I do remember there is a guy. I thought this guy was called Gothmog, to be honest as well, but he's actually Othrod. And he's got Black Shield bodyguards now, so he's an entire different year. They just renamed Uruk bodyguards to Black Shield bodyguards. Okay, and you can bring 2 of them now, so they've sort of buffed that, so you can have 3 if you bring Othrod. That's kind of cool. And yeah, you can have Gothmog, and Gothmog doesn't even say what his unit is. It's just Gothmog, so we might go in and actually have a look at him. I'm kind of intrigued. It's a heavy melee infantry unit apparently, but it's a he looks like he's got a double-handed sword, that's for sure. We've got axe infantry. Mordor Orc is now axe infantry instead of being sword infantry up here. And then things have been capped. So Guards of the Teeth are now at 1. Which is kind of sad. We've got another bow unit, I think, as well. Orc Archer's always been a thing. I don't think they have. I think it's just been Bow Rabble and Uruk Archers. So we now have a middle bow unit here. So yeah, that's cool to see. Kind of a big fan of that because yeah, I feel like they needed something in the middle, like where you didn't want to be Bow Rabble. I didn't want to spend 900 on Uruk Archers either necessarily. I think this is a good medium that I feel like Mordor needed. Summons the Eye cap now at 1, and obviously have that new look. So that's also going to be huge. So I think that's a nice way. Maybe instead of I don't know if they nerfed them that they lose they keep the stats of their cavalry variant if they dismount, but capping them to 1 kind of makes that impact less problematic anyway. And I don't think anything else is down here has changed, like the Warhounds and the Trolls. And then what else we've got? We've got Rohan. Rohan's changed as well quite a bit. We've now got some new generals. Here we've got Winfried. Winfried? He's a fried man anyway. Winfried. I don't know, probably butchering his name. We've got the King's Company as a general. Retinue of the House of Earl as a general. It kind of gives away also all the new units that Rohan have added. None of their infantry's really changed, but their cav has changed. So yeah, Heir of the Knights, King's Mark, sorry, they're capped at 2 now. A lot of their cav seems to be capped, but you're probably not going to be able to bring it all anyway, just with the pricing, unless you're going like an all-cav army in a land battle. But yeah, King's Company's now in. Retinue of the House of Earl now in, and yeah, Household Knights are capped to 1 instead of having 2. But they're still worse in stats than Knights of the Silver Swan, but Knights of the Silver Swan are now also capped at 1, so I think that's quite good in a way. But yeah, I still feel like they should maybe bring down the price of these a little bit. I feel like that should be Rohan's buff, maybe to a little extent. You maybe could, I don't know, depends. You can maybe up the buffs on some of these, like the prices on some of these infantry. I also don't think so some of this infantry is that great anyway. But yeah, you could maybe bring down the price of this. Like, I mean, this is spear cav. It's gonna have to be a blooming good spear cav for this to be brought. 1500. It's the most expensive spear cav I think I've seen. You're expecting that? I mean, the stats are good. It's got ammo as well. Actually, it's got 16 ammo. So I didn't even realize that. So it is actually a hybrid unit. So that's pretty solid. So that might actually be worth the price then. To bring us a hybrid. King's Company's not hybrid. It's just a melee cav. Knights is Knights the. Why do I want to call them Knights for some reason? Heir of the King's Mark. They are still a hybrid unit. So yeah, bringing like these guys could actually be really disgusting. That's for sure. And then you could bring like missile cav as well. That could actually be horrible to do, and be really cool. And then he is Winfried is actually a melee cav as well. So he's, but it doesn't say what he is. I don't know. Again, like I said, where this is my version, it just doesn't say what they are. But I imagine I'm gonna go with probably looking at those stats, 44 melee attack. I think that might be Erling Knights by the looks of it. So yeah. I imagine that's his bodyguard. Anyway, and then Wooden Realm, final sort of one before we roll back around to Dunland. I don't think anything's changed here massively again. Oh no, we got shock infantry, of course. Okay, yeah. Actually, you know what? I take it back. Wooden Realm's changed quite a lot. Lasgarlan Warriors. We have a shock infantry now, a even better shock infantry for Wooden Realm. We now have axe infantry for Wooden Realm. More of it. We have forest axes. We have Lasgarlan axes. We have nothing else, I don't think. Javies, actually. We have Sylvan Lookouts. They're going to be very, very exciting to see. I think they've also changed some of the stats for the Girth Lagor. I can't remember, but some of these stats have been tweaked in the change log as well. But yeah, Wooden Realm, I think, just continuing to be my favorite faction. This is... I always love a bit of Wooden Realm love. I'm all for that. We could do with a cheaper sword, maybe. Like, I don't know, like I call it like a forest blade or something like that. Like, I don't know, put that at like 900. And then I think you've got a complete faction there. To be honest, I think that's a complete faction. You don't need anything else to be added. I can die a happy man. And then, anyway, we're going to come back around to Dunland. And I think we're going to have a look at these guys on the actual battlefield. Because look at Dunland. They have been fully changed entirely. But while we're here, we will look at maps. So these are all the new maps that are now available. There are a few different ones. They've got rid of a lot as well. Don't know what's going on there. Yeah, for some reason, North and None just keep flying through if I want to scroll down. But yeah, we've got Nindalf, we've got Tolfalas. But yeah, they got rid of a lot of maps there. That's all the land battle maps. Then we have City Assaults. I don't know how many of these got rid of. Generic Gondor City. I don't know if these are going to be in there. But yeah, they got rid of a lot of the maps, as you can see here. Helm's Deep survives. Isengard survives. Edoras. I think most of the maps that they've done a lot of like work on, they've all survived. But they got rid of a lot of the older maps. Which people maybe just didn't play on. Which is a bit of a shame. Port Cities. Dol Amroth's still on there. I don't know if Dol Amroth works. But yeah, it's now a port assault, which instead of just being a city assault, or maybe it's always been port assault. I can't remember. But Dol Amroth's on there. I don't know if it works. Then we'll have to try it out, see whether it crashes the game. Unfortified. Lake Town, again, don't know whether it works. It has been crashing. And then we've got like loads of different like towns here, which is cool. I don't mind that they don't necessarily have names. Town A is fine. Town B is fine. You don't need to like necessarily give them all names. Ambush battles. I don't think anything's changed there. Tom Bombadils. Oh my gosh. We're definitely gonna have to do an ambush battle. It's a shame that ambush battles are just 1v1s. I would love to do larger ambush battles. Make that a thing, devs. If you could make that a thing, larger ambush battles. What am I asking for? Unfortified ports, Venice Gondoran, unfortified towns, so we looked at that. Coastal battle, I don't think anything's been added there. No, didn't think there would be. River crossing, the Argonath is the only one now. I guess the Isengard crossing one's gone. Interesting. I thought that was a pretty decent map as well. But yeah, loads of maps gone. But yeah, let's do Argonath. I don't know why. Let's just do this. We'll do this one. I'll load this up. So I'll see you guys in a moment. So we are back, and as you can see, we do have well, all of Dunland here. Well, pretty much all of Dunland. I actually couldn't get all the units on. It's the first time I think I've ever seen this happen. But yeah, I've not been able to get all of the units on here for them. They actually only there's 21 units. The unit that didn't make it on is the Warhounds, which I feel like we can live without. Warhounds are kind of Warhounds, but they have a whole bunch of units here, and as you can see, we have a lot of Falx units out there. Instead of being like Axe Infantry, it looks like a lot of their shock has now been turned to Falx units, which I really like. I do think that's quite cool, giving a bit of a Dacian vibe. We're going to fly through these units again because this video is probably getting very, very long at this point. But yeah, Warlord Pillagers, one of their units over here, chosen. Here, Herban, new unit as well, a little bit more elite. I'm going to have to learn all these new names, which is going to be a right pain. Gone are the days of sort of like old Dunland. That is a shame to see them disappear, but that happens. Warlord Champions, so these are what they look like as well. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the wolf on the head as well. I feel like that's kind of like very vanilla sort of look, but yeah, it's quite cool. I feel like they've kind of like had these and then they've disappeared and they've returned. Tribal Warriors, I don't think these guys have changed too much. In look, medium axe infantry there. Got Blood Sworn here. I feel like it's taking the name from Rome too, but does not matter from like the Swaby. But they look quite cool. They're I think they are an axe unit, but they're using maces. So mace units don't usually do that great. So we'll see how they operate in the mod. We have Axe Herban here. They look very, very solid in their chainmail from like head to toe, shield, and I think that guy got a meat cleaver. Let me just get side on to that. That guy has a meat cleaver. Alright, he's just like picking up any old rubbish and taking that into battle. And then this guy, and then we've got over here the General, the Huskarls. You can bring this as a non-general unit as well. But this is the only sword now available for Dunland. And so you don't have Dunland swords anymore, you just have Huskarls. But yeah, very cool unit, that's for sure. I don't know what's going on with these sort of like plates on there in front of the chainmail. I don't know if they're supposed to protect anything, protect you from something, but yeah, there you go. Looking very Slavic now, our Dunland. Even more Slavic, I'd say. A tribal spearman here, looking pretty just chill. These guys generally look like they might have had just wooden spears, I thought for a moment, but they are, in fact, they do have blades on them. But yeah, very simple style for them. Then we've got the Elder Spears here. They've changed a little bit as well, but same name, new look, looking very tidy. And then what else do we have here? We have some more spears here. Hill Wardens. Looks like all their higher tier units seem to be getting a lot of wolves stuck on their head, which is okay. So many wolf packs to die though for these boys. And then over here we have pikes, which are new to Dunland. We have Dunlanding pikemen here. We've had pikes in various submods for them, like Bonnevale Wardens or whatever they're called. But yeah, we actually have some vanilla pike units now. So yeah, these are the Dunlanding pikemen. Pretty simple. And then we have the more elite unit over here, which these guys have got. We're bringing back the Isengard hand-me-downs. If you remember Dunland originally, Dunland had loads of old Isengard kit just like slapped onto them, and they've got it again. They brought that back. We've got All Thanks servants here, and these guys are pretty much just look like Uruk-hai pikemen, but there's men under there instead of Uruk-hai. So yeah, they look very, very cool. I don't know if the Isengard pikemen have spikes on their fists, though. Just seeing that small detail. That's very cool. Imagine getting punched by that. That's going to hurt. Then we have archers, a whole bunch of archers there, Dunlanding hunters. Looking pretty simple. They look, yeah, just like a typical sort of mannish faction. They generally could be in Attila, I feel like, and they would look, they wouldn't look out of place. They look that sort of like, just like, I don't know, nondescript, I would say. Then over here we have Archer Herban, looking again pretty solid. The Herban seem to all have this sort of like head to toe, sort of like chainmail going on. I feel like most of the Dunlanding guys, by the way, all are pretty old, which I feel like is the same as in the movies. They're all like old, angry men. There are some youths here, as you can see, so this is probably all of the young people. But yeah, it does seem like most of their guys like all like grizzled old men, which I quite like. It's a small detail, which sort of if you know your lore for Dunlanding, yeah, they're like all seem like and seen the movies. I feel like that's quite a nice little touch. Those are the Javies there. Then what do we have over here? We have Slingers. Again, look quite similar to the Dunlanding archers that we just saw, but just Dunlanding slingers. And then we have crossbows over here. We have warlords crossbows. These are tier 2. Yeah, looking quite worn a little bit with their armor here. But yeah, a solid unit. Crossbow, again, another unit that Dunlandings never had before. But yeah, very, very cool. And then Cav. I don't know if the Cav's been changed, because Dunlanding used to have a lot of very nice Cav. We have Elder Riders here. These are tier 2 melee Cav. This guy also having a meat cleaver. Love to see it. Riding into battle with your butcher's knife. Then we have the Warlord's Cavalry. So this is a tier 3 heavy spear Cav. Looks similar to the Huskarls, just with a spear and on a horse in sort of armor. So that's very, very cool. And then the final unit is Tribal Raiders. So yeah, they are I think they're a tier 1 skirmish Cav. Yeah, they look pretty solid. Again, don't know how often we'll see these guys in the battle, because people don't bring skirmish cav very often. But yeah, Dunland have a massive change. A lot of people used to love it. It used to be a bit of a meta play. It's now changed quite a bit. Definitely going to be a different play style, that's for sure. And yeah, still it'll be very, very different. Gone are the days of the Blood Avengers, and here are the days of, yeah, the Orthanc Servants and the Huskarls and things like that. It's going to be a very, very different look for Dunland. This is Argonath as well as a map. This is a river crossing map. Don't know how often we'll see it. People don't really play river crossing maps that very often, but it'll be good for campaigns, I guess, to have this sort of map going on. They need these sort of things. When you do have a river crossing battle in a campaign, you need a map for it. But yeah, it looks pretty solid. Maybe we'll do a battle on it. Maybe we won't. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this update video. I hope it's not been too long and too long-winded, and we've kind of covered everything in sort of one tight-knit video. But yeah, if you did enjoy, do remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're around here, and a comment show your support. It really does help out the channel. Do check out some of the videos appearing on your screen now. And I'll see you, folks, in the next one. Bye for now.